picture with me.
That's not a picture, that's a video.
I'll put a picture
I
here.
stepped on his paw.
Oh, Hi guys, this is Rosa Kelly. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm here to do my July wrap-ups. I think I had a pretty good reading month. I read 10 books. Well, 9.5. I do have one book that I didn't finish, and that is The Sunflower Sisters by Martha Hall Kelly. I'm about halfway through. So this book is a historical fiction novel, and it is on the times of the Civil War. It follows the life of 3 different ladies. One of them is a plantation owner, the other one is a slave, and the other one is a nurse. Kind of see their 3 different perspectives. You can see all the cruelty of the war. I really like that the author didn't dress up or beautify the war on any way. Like, you can really see the cruel aspects of it, and also you can see the mistreatment of the slaves, and it's just a very, I think, educational type of reading as well, because you kind of have this window on how, how it used to be. You can also see the reflection on some of the things that happen that still happen these days. So it's a really, really good read. I'm really enjoying this book. So I'm recording this video actually a little bit ahead of the end of July. So I'm hoping that by the end of July I will be done with this book. And so the other one, and that I actually just finished last night, is The Invisible Life of Auddie Larue. And so you have seen this book all over YouTube probably. It is really, really good. So this book talks about the life of Auddie, and she basically is escaping a situation she didn't want to be in, and she just really wanted to live forever. So when she is one day escaping and walking on the forest, she sees this shadow, and the shadow happens to be a devil, or a devil, yeah, the devil. And so he concedes her a wish, and her wish was to live forever. So exchange of her having this eternal life, no one will remember her. So the minute that she's done talking to a person and she turns around, or they turn around, then they can no longer remember who she was. So it's almost like if she didn't exist, or if she doesn't even have a life. So this book questions a lot. I think for me, it made me question a lot the meaning of life. Like, if you can't be remembered, if you can't leave a mark, is it a life really worth living? So I really, really enjoy a lot of different aspects of this book. So finally she meets someone who can remember her, and then you start learning about him as well. And so I absolutely love the book, really, really enjoyed it, really, really recommend it. And so that is this one here. And then the next book that I read is The Echo Wife. Now this book was not on my original list to read for July, but I actually had a summer week marathon, or summer week readathon, of just reading scary thrillers or mystery books, which is actually a video I'm editing right now, and I'm hoping to have that one out soon. And so I was able to read 5 books in a week, which is a new record. And so one of the books is The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey, and I really enjoyed this book. This is more of like a psychological thriller, and it has a lot of science involved, not in a boring way, but I think in a lot of ways that make you think like, wow, this could actually happen. So this book follows Evelyn and Martine, and Martine is the clone of Evelyn. And so Evelyn and her husband are both scientists, but the husband decides to clone the wife to kind of find the perfect wife. So Martine happens to be everything that Evelyn is not. She is basically the perfect woman for him, and so he cheats with her, which is crazy. But anyway, so then he ends up dead. So then they're both left to clean the mess. They start discovering other things that he did, and it's just so interesting. Really, really enjoyed this book. And so another one that I read as part of my readathon, summer readathon, is The Death of Mrs Westaway. So we follow Hall, and so her name is Harriet, but they call her Hall. And so basically she is called saying that she has inherit something from her grandma, who is Mrs. Westaway. But so she's very confused because she says that she is not her actual grandma. However, she goes anyway because she needs the money. And then when she goes there, she starts to discover a lot of their family secrets. Another thing that I really like about this book is that she is a tarot reader, and so in a lot of her decision making process, she compares real life with, you know, the reading of the cards or the symbolism on the tarot. And I just found that really, really interesting. So I absolutely enjoyed this book. I really liked it and highly recommend. And then we have here the Stephen King If It Bleeds. So this is a collection of 4 short stories, and again, I enjoy these so much. A couple of them were very creepy and those were definitely my favorites. So the only thing that I didn't know going into this book is I believe the 3rd story, which is the one called If It Bleeds. And so for that one, I didn't know going into this book that was actually kind of like not a continuation, but it has the same characters and the same plot as The Outsider, and which is another book from Stephen King that I haven't read yet. And now after reading this book, I really want to go and read The Outsider and actually have it. And so it's going to be on my list to read for August. But if you want to read The Outsider, maybe hold on to this book until later because it is a little bit of a spoiler. So the other short story that I really like from this book was the last one, which is The Rats. I mean, all of them were really good, but for that one, I thought it was super, super creepy. So basically that one talks about a writer and he's having this writer's block. And so he goes to this cabin to have peace and quiet and basically isolates from his family so he can finish his book. And so then the rat appears and kind of proposes him like a deal on how he can make this novel to be very successful in exchange for something. And that's all I'm gonna say. Really, really good. So then we have the Mexican Gothic, and this is by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I heard so many reviews about this book. A lot of you recommended me to read it, so I definitely went and got it, and I included it on my summer wind readathon, and I'm so happy I did because this is everything I wanted. This book is so creepy, but it also has a lot of like Mexican background, like folklore. I always like to read the author's note at the end to see where they get their inspiration and the story behind how you know, like some of the parts that actually are true. Like it talks about this little town in Mexico that has a lot of British influence. On this book, we are following Noemi, and Noemi is going to go visit her cousin Carolina. And so basically Carolina wrote a letter to them saying that there were weird things happening, and then they don't hear from her anymore, so she decides to go to her town and visit her. And then she starts discovering all of these things that are happening. So why is Carolina so sick? And there's something weird about everybody around. And I really love the mystery behind the house, and it was creepy. Like after I finished reading this book, I could not go to sleep. Highly recommend. Thank you to everyone who recommended this to me. The last book that I read on my summer wind readathon was To Survive the Night, and this is by Riley Sager. As you know, I have been reading a couple of his books, and I really enjoy how fast-paced and just like relaxed they are to read. They're so entertaining, and they do give you those like moments of like chills. On this book, we are following Charlie, and so Charlie is she's a little bit of an introvert. She doesn't have a lot of friends, and she lives basically in movies. She loves movies, and she relates every aspect of her life to movies. And then one day her roommate gets killed, and she just didn't know what to do. She doesn't talk to anybody else on the school. She just wants to escape the school. And so she decides to take a ride back home because she doesn't drive. So she goes to this like board where you find people that go to the same school to find a ride, and then she gets a ride with this guy named Josh. Then on the book, you're following what is happening on that ride, and you kind of start suspecting of him being a serial killer who killed her friend. And then you also start kind of going behind her mind, because she is the most unreliable person in terms of like character, because she doesn't know when something is real. Like, she is telling you something that she thinks it happened, but then she might have imagined it, because she kind of lives in movies, which makes it really, really creepy, because then you're like, oh my gosh, he is the killer, and then you're like, oh no, wait, that was all in her mind. It just goes back and forth like that, and it's just so exciting, so fun to read. Recommended. I loved it. Then another book that I read this month, this is another thriller. So this is the Sanatorium by Sarah Harris, and so this is actually the first book that I read this month. I was so excited for this, and I loved it. Also do highly recommend. So on this book, we're following Ellen, and Ellen, she is like a detective that has been let go. She doesn't know what to do with her life. She's on kind of that midpoint in her life, and so her brother is getting married, and he is having this engagement party at this hotel, and it is up on the mountains. And so it is like a creepy place, because this used to be a hospital, and now it's like this minimalist hotel. So since the minute she gets there, she gets this like creepy vibe, and she knows something is wrong. And then people start disappearing, and she's kind of there using all her detective skills to try to control the situation, because on top of that, there was an avalanche, and so they're uncommunicated with the police and the phone lines. There's some secrets in there as well, mysteries, family secrets, which, as you know, I love. And yeah, that's the Sanatorium. Really, really like. And I believe this is her debut novel as well, so I can't wait to see what else she has in store for us. And then I have the next book here. This is the Chanel Sisters. This is by Judith Little, and I really love this book. So this is, of course, it's following the life of Coco Chanel and how she came to be, how she built her brand, and with her sisters. So the book talks about how she built her brand, but it also talks about her family life from the beginning, her relationship with her sisters, with her parents, and how they kind of came from nowhere, and then how they were able to build this brand amongst the World War II. And so it's really, really interesting. I love the family aspects, the unity of the sisters, how they were so passionate about building this brand. Gives me so much inspiration for everything else. Like, you just get contagious about like the desire to succeed and love something so much to be so proud of it. So I just love this book. The last book that I read this month is The House on the Cerulean Sea. Oh my goodness, love this book so much. So this book is so magical, and it just gave me a lot of happiness. It made me smile, and I really enjoy it. So this book follows Linus, and Linus is a social worker. So he gets assigned to go to this island to basically supervise this orphanage with magical children. So the magical children that live there are supposed to be the like a hazard to the rest of the world. We have the son of the devil, and then we have some different creatures that are basically different from everybody else. So everybody else is afraid of them. So he goes in there, and he's supposed to see, give his approval for them to like either close the orphanage or keep it open. So he goes there and does his observation, and then you can see his relationship with the children. You learn so much from that, and the children were just so cute. So I also listened to this on audiobook, and I absolutely recommend that too, because you can hear the voices of the children, him, his internal conflicts as well. So highly recommend this, of course, and I will definitely read this again a million times. And so that is it. Those are all the books that I read for the month of July. I hope that you guys enjoy this little summary, and let me know if you have read any of these books, and let me know which books you recommend for me to read next. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.